Three.
Live.
Yeah, buddy. Live. We are live. 3, 2, 1. What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Here the Spirit, presented to you by NoleGameday. We are live, just like Lonnie just said.
Live,
Beautiful Thursday night. Lonnie, good to see you, man. 2013 Orange Bowl MVP with us this evening. We've been working on this for a little while now, getting you on and got you on here, and happy to have you, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I know we went to that event yesterday and times went over time, but I appreciate you having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, most certainly. I know you're probably a little freaked out because you came in and saw us wearing all this colorful, colorful
it
polo.
looks good though. I wish I would have sent out an email, a text, a tweet. Maybe I got some cool stuff in my closet, but it is what it is.
It's all right. We left you out. That's all right. It's all right. But I just want to start off. How have you been? What have you been up to? Along with you've been at booster events and everything, and you're always a face on Twitter too for one of the former Noles that played. How's everything been and what you've been up to?
Oh man, everything's good. Busy with work. So busy with work, but I travel a lot for work, man. So I'm usually gone Monday through Thursday, man. So I'm on the road a lot. But that's good. Ready for the football season. The team was in town last week practicing. So I got to go out there and watch that. Got to meet Coach Norvell. I was busy this weekend. I went to the Bobby Brown service this past weekend, but just everything's been good, man. I'm truly blessed, and like I said, everything's been going good.
I was going to ask you too, and we talked in the production meeting before we went live, but we talked about it a ton too about Bobby Bowden's passing, and it's hit Tallahassee very hard. It's going to be a very emotional opening weekend for the Seminoles inside Doak. It's going to be a roller coaster of emotions. It's going to be hard after that night, but tell us about how that went after you just said you were there, and any thoughts on Coach, because I know he played a pivotal role in you coming to Florida State.
Oh man, it was definitely. You knew it was kind of coming, but it was definitely, to wake up to those news, man. It was definitely crazy, man. Just like I said, he's one of the main reasons why I went to Florida State. A guy coming to my high school, come to my home, meet my friends, and pretty much shut Okeechobee down when they found out he was in town. Truly blessing. I can tell you countless stories about him, but it felt good to be back in Tallahassee. Saw a lot of old players, saw old coaches, and it was just like anytime when I go home, it feels like home. And the best part about it is best thing he said, he was at peace. So I think that was the best part. He was 91. I don't think you can live a better life than what he did. And the best part when he was like, he can rest easy. That kind of, I'm pretty sure made everyone feel a little better.
And talking about your career at Florida State a little, you came into FSU as a highly touted running back, and then you ended up switching to fullback, and I would say left Tallahassee as one of the best fullbacks in program history. So I just wanted to know what went into that position change and how did that all come together?
Oh man, that was a crappy day. That was a terrible day for me. but it was, yeah. So I was at practice, and I never forget this day. I'm at practice, and Dexter Carter's the coach at the time. So he goes in there. He's like, "Lonnie, take a rep at fullback." Just being young and dumb. Is like, "Yeah, I'll do that. Why not?" So I go take a rep. Boom. I come back. He looks at me. He's like, "Hey man, why don't you take another rep?" It's like, okay. So I take another one. But he pulls me to the side. He was like, "Hey man, I want you to kind of focus on fullback." And when I tell you, man, it was the worst news you could ever got. Man, I remember going home, talking to my high school coach, crying to my coach all night. Then I never forget, Jimbo had called, and we were on the phone, man. It had to be a good 45 minutes, man. Jimbo just talking about the reason why we made the switch. Just, you're young, you're talented, we got a lot of backs. We want to get you on the field. But I wouldn't change anything in the world. Best 4 years of my life. And that's the reason I went there. I trusted Jimbo. I trusted Bobby. So I know they wouldn't lead me any wrong directions. But yeah, it was a tough day for me that day. But like I said, also kind of worked out for the best for me.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you, they're kind of moving forward a little bit in your career at Florida State, but what was it like? And this is something I think a lot of FSU fans have asked you whenever, Jordan Lynch decided to do a little talking. He did a little chirping before that Orange Bowl game. What was first your reaction to that, along with the teams? Because it was a little fiery. That was a fiery team coming in that game.
I can't remember it. I remember Jimbo. I don't know if it was the day before the game or that week while we were down there, because it was in the news. It was in the newspaper, and I remember Jimbo coming in pissed off. He's like, "Did y'all hear about what Jordan Lynch said today or whatever, or yesterday?" So Jimbo had the newspaper in his hand, and he's just reading it like, what I forgot. All of a sudden it says like they won't be able to last 4 quarters with us. They'll be on their knees. I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I don't even know why you even like. And that was supposed to be like our national shit. Like, we're like one of the best defenses in the nation. You often say that, which was the defense was pissed. So, and you see how the outcome of that game was. So,
yeah. Were there any chirping on the field?
I don't think it was, but I know they was out there hitting. But I just remember I was like, why would he like, it's cool to be like going to game cocky, motivate your team. You want to kind of have the edge, but like. It's Florida State, my guy. So, but anyways, it didn't work out too well for him. So,
so and speaking of the game, you went for 130-something yards, 2 touchdowns, named Orange Bowl MVP. What was it like to end your college career on such a high note?
Man, people ask me about that game. I literally still to this day, I can't put that game in words, man. It's to go to FSU, to go there, and you have your mindset of being the next 1,000-yard rusher because Ward Dunn was the last one to do it. So you go there with so big dreams and breaking records, just the sacrifices I made just to move to that position, and just it was just great, man, to go out there. Just all the hard work paid off, all the belief that the coaches put into me. So just to go like that in your last game like that, man, it was a dream come true. I didn't even go to bed that night. I think I went to the hotel. Like half the team went out. I didn't even go out. I literally just stayed in my hotel room, and like I stayed up till like 5 o'clock. Couldn't go to bed. It was crazy.
Well, that's awesome, though.
Everybody went out. I was like, I'm not going out. It was like I just literally stayed here. It was crazy.
Absolute insanity, man. It was all. Go ahead, Nate.
I actually broke that trophy. It's so funny.
Well, we got to hear that story.
That trophy is broken, my guys. I'll show y'all. It's so bad.
No, you got to explain now. You got to explain.
So when you live in the life that Lonnie Pryor lives, so this trophy, man, has been at so many house parties, pool parties, like has literally been. I can tell you so many stories about this. I literally was going as one of my buddies, Brandon Hannon's birthday. So I'm going up he had this big slip and slide at his house. So I go up this slip and slide. At this point, I'm very intoxicated. So I really don't remember this. He calls me the next day. He was like, "Bro, do you remember what you did to that guy yesterday?" I'm like, "What are you talking about, my man?" He was like, "Yeah, you tried to go up the slide with that trophy. I guess it fell out my hand, gave this kid like 10 stitches. Like, it's just crazy." But yeah, so the last time I had it was my buddy's last show, and I brought it out. It was his last show, Bear. It was his last show. So we used it as like his tip jar, right? So at this point, like I lifted up and the whole bowl came off. It's so bad. I got it. I'll show you pictures, man. Just like him living life, man. So I'm probably the only one. That's probably like 80 Orange Bowl MVP trophies. None of them have lived the life that mine's lived. So, anyways,
that's amazing. That's hilarious. Just a tad intoxicated. That's it.
Just a tad, not that bad.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
But yeah, that game was definitely a great game, man. My whole family was there. The town of Okeechobee, the high school brought buses there with a bunch of high school kids. So man, it couldn't have ended any better than that, man. It was a dream come true.
What's up, Lonnie?
Yo,
so
like this a phone call or something.
So you and I close throughout your recruitment, and one thing we go way back. Like I was, we were the first ones to do that diary stuff.
Yeah, I remember that stuff. Man, it was a good time.
So one thing you talked about when you were getting recruited and when you committed eventually was, being a part of that change. Can you just talk about, that change from Jimbo and leaving Florida State in a better place than when you got there?
Yeah, man, it was definitely a big change. Bobby was there, but kind of like Jimbo was kind of already over the stuff. Like Bobby was kind of pretty much the face there. He did lead some things, but Jimbo was kind of the face there. And I kind of knew that. I know Bobby didn't have much more time there, so I know Jimbo was going to be the next guy. But yeah, man, it was a big change from God. The changes were from everything from wearing the GPS monitors to nutrition, hiring a nutrition guy. From the way we practice, meetings, like it was literally a complete change when Jimbo took over. I never forget when Jimbo, I remember we had that meeting, and I remember when Jimbo walked in, and I remember one of the first, can you cuss on here? Are y'all allowed to cuss on this thing?
Yeah.
And I remember, I just never forget when Jimbo came in here, when he was his first speech, and first thing right off the back, he's like, a lot of shit's going to change. It's not going to be, it's not going to be like it used to be ran. So, and that day, man, it was like, I'm telling you, it was a different mindset. And, after that year, it kept building and building. And, that's why they ended up with a national championship. Jimbo made a lot of changes for the best. So it definitely was a big change.
Being a part of that, did you see it going into that last year? Did you kind of, because that 2012 team should have competed for a national title?
Oh, man, that was yeah, man, that year was our year. We thought that too. Well, that year, if you look at that team, man, so much talent on both sides of the ball. And yeah, we even thought that was our championship run. We lose on Thursday night to NC State, which I still that game's blacked out of my head in my mind. Like I can't even.
What was the locker room after that game, Lonnie?
Oh man, it was. I remember the bus ride, man. I remember the bus ride back, man. It was just like I've never been like high school, college. Like I've never seen like the most. It was crazy, man. It was so quiet. Like it was like a zombie town. We were up that game, and then we went up to halftime winning, and we just come back and just lose that game. And yeah, it was just. Yeah, that year was supposed to be our run. Then we lose at the end of the year. We lose to Florida. But, still a great season. I think the years coming up there, built that for them that next year, 2013. That's when they all put it together, man. And I thought, I think the class of 09 is one of the best classes that's been through there. And I think we helped build that culture to give them that run to make that 2013 national championship run. So.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember or if you ever discussed it, with Dustin being one of your, great friends that you made at Florida State. Yeah. All you had to do was kick a field goal, let him, kick a 50-yarder and they win that game. Did you guys ever talk about that? How, Jimbo didn't let him get, at least try a field goal?
Was that the NC State game? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I don't even remember. Like I said, that game is so blacked out of my mind. It's so crazy. But I don't remember. Yeah, when I tell you that game is just I didn't even watch the film on it. It was that bad. But yeah, I can't remember the field goal. I don't know why he didn't let him kick it. I just can't recall what happened or what was going on at the time.
Lonnie, real quick, this is so random, not even on the doc or anything, but it was just tweeted about 30 minutes ago, and this will go into your career at Florida State too against rivals. A reporter there said that the Florida State war chant is blaring inside the Miami IPF tonight.
Miami.
Yeah, talk about your rivalries, and also it seems like Miami, that's their Super Bowl facing Florida State every year. As we can tell, it's still going on. I'm playing the war chant right now. That doesn't make any sense to me. Poverty.
My biggest rival to me was Florida. Maybe because I don't think anyone. Oh my God! I'm getting stressed out thinking about it. Anyways, I literally hate the Gators so much, to the point now. And I didn't hate them as bad when I played there, but after going to games and just seeing Gator fans out, you can ask anyone. If I see someone with a Gator shirt, I immediately get mad for no apparent reason. They just literally just pissed me off, and just playing against them was a completely different ball game. You know what I mean? It was just like, and I remember when we got there, I'm 2-2 against the Gators, and I think we beat them in 2010, but I think we lost them like 5 to 6 times in a row before we beat them. So winning those 2 games, but yeah, man, I was cool with Miami. That was always a good rivalry because it's close, but it's just in Florida, man. I literally hated the Gators more than anything in this world. Like, God, it's bad. I tried dating a Gator girl and it didn't work out. I was like, I couldn't do it. It's terrible. I tried.
How long did that last?
Not long. It's not long because I already knew. I was thinking the end game was like maybe like you go to a game and she's like, want you better shut. Yeah, I can't even. I'm getting stressed out thinking about it. If you're like Seminole fans that date Gators, like it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes. So take it now. If you're a Gator girl, don't approach or contact Lonnie in the DMs. Don't slide in the DMs.
Oh no, it's just God. I get stressed out.
Not even worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So, Lonnie, you spent 4 years at Florida State, and we talked about that Orange Bowl game a little bit earlier, and that was one of the highlights of your career, obviously. But what were some of your other favorite experiences at FSU, both on and off the field?
Oh man, I can tell you so many stories. Off the field, man. It's crazy. A lot of my best friends came outside of football. So I met a lot of my best friends outside of football. A lot of them live in Miami, but just the friends that I have met there. Just being a student athlete going to Florida State is definitely a dream come true. But on the field, man, oh man, it's just I felt like I had a lot of great games. My freshman year when I scored 3 touchdowns against BYU was a great game. My freshman year the last game, if we didn't win that game, we went to a bowl game, so that would kill Bobby Bowden's streak. And that's when I scored a winning touchdown there. The first touchdown against the Gators, we beat them, 2010. Man, so many highlights, man. Just playing with Chris Thompson, blocking for Freeman, the offensive lineman, playing with EJ, Dustin. It was just like when people say like going to college, your best 4 years of life, it truly was, man. Just being an athlete, going to my dream school. Like I said, best 4 years of my life. I wouldn't change it for nothing in the world.
And speaking of those games, which game had the best atmosphere? Like we've had Kenny Shaw and EJ Manuel on. Both of them always bring up Oklahoma first, but
Oklahoma, that's the one. I can't believe Kenny remembered that game. Just kidding.
Oh man.
He talked about that hit.
That hit was
he talked about it.
That hit was crazy. I don't even think they call a penalty on it either.
Nah.
No. It was like I can't remember. I think he got like sandwiched. It was so bad.
Yeah.
Anyways. But no, that Oklahoma home game when Clint that was the loudest game I've ever been into in my life. Like that game it was insane. Like I remember Clint Trickett came in, threw that ball to Rashad. Like, dude, that game was insane. And so hopefully we have that energy this the first game against Notre Dame, man. Like it's that place should be packed, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna do something for Bobby, man. Like it should you should have your freaking tee should be so high ready for that game, man.
So
that place should be insane.
How fired up would you be if they had Ann Bound come out there and plant the spear?
Oh, dude, that would be tough. Yeah, that would be so cool.
Even like Mickey Andrews, someone come out.
Yeah.
I think Doak Campbell will be roll out.
Man, it be I think it's going to be. It's the first game. Last year was tough, but with everything happening last year, with the COVID, not practicing, a lot. So I think this year I'm pumped for Norvell. I just think this year, you're playing Notre Dame on a Sunday. The loss of Bobby, like this place is gonna be like, oh my fuck, I might go suit up. You know what I mean? That's how pumped it's gonna be. You know what I mean? It's like it's gonna be insane. It's on a Sunday. You're the only game on. They're playing Notre Dame. Like it's gonna be crazy. Like it'd be crazy. Like I wouldn't be able to sleep the night before.
Mm-hmm. It seems like Norvell's kind of got that mix. People have been saying since his arrival, kind of a mix of Fisher and Bobby, if that, that kind of mixture it does. And, I get the fiery side of Norvell and things that we hear about goes on in the inside, and you get the outside feeling about how Bobby was, and he's allowing a lot of the media to try, allow them to get inside and get access. And that's what, Bobby wanted to do for the most part. But, Mike is really focused in on bringing this program back, and he's talked with a lot of former players too. I mean, I believe, DeMarcus Walker visited in his office recently. I know James Wilder has a really, really good relationship with him. But, how was your, meeting Norvell and everything of that?
Oh, man, it was great. So they were here last week in Jacksonville for a practice. So I got to meet Coach Norvell after the practice, and also got to see him at practice, man. And it was felt kind of like Jimbo. He had so much energy, and I never forget, man. They were practicing punt return. They were practicing punt, so keeping the ball within, keep it inside the 10. So the player's not allowed. If you're trying to, you're trying to get the ball inside 10, and the guys on the punt team ran into the end zone. Once you can't run into the end zone, you won't be able to get the ball. And I remember him was like just snapping, going off on players, and I was like, oh, that was kind of Jimbo-ish right there. So, but that was like, I never watched Willie. I never been to one of his practices, but I know, practicing like that, man, it definitely changes people. But he, so much energy at practice. Just loud all over the place, just, into the players, coaching players. I remember Jordan Travis had a play, did something. I remember him just pulling him to the side, like, trying to talk to him, read this. So it was just like he was coaching, man. It felt good. But I met him afterwards. Great guy, man. He was like, if you ever need anything, you want to come to the game, don't hesitate. No, great guy, man. I'm so you can tell he loves Florida State. He wants to bring this program back to where it was, and I think he's on the right track. I'm a true believer in Norvell, and I can truly say that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what about him versus Willie Taggart?
Oh, damn. You're going to put him on the spot.
Y'all get me going on Willie Taggart.
Nate said it.
Oh, my God. You like I got, oh, man. You like I was drinking. If you would have caught me on 2 gin and tonics, I can't say. I don't know. I met Willie one time.
Different.
I met him one time. I never been to his practice, but I know it's completely different. I can tell you that. You can watch a football game and see it's a different coaching on the sideline. So I guess I would never say anything of that. It's definitely different. So like I said, I'm very happy for Norvell, and hopefully he can turn this program around.
You said you're planning up to come for the Notre Dame game. Any other?
Oh, yeah. I go a lot. Like last year, I went to 4 games. I went to the first game last year. I don't miss a lot of games. I'm always there. So, yeah, I'll be there. We got VIP and recess Saturday if y'all want to pull up. So.
Oh, my. God, I'll bring the polo. I'll bring the polo.
Man. Bring the polo.
The Proud 90 polo.
So my buddy, man, Pablo, he's going, and he's got a whole bunch of friends. He got a buddy from Chicago. It's just going to be every time I go to Tallahassee, it's like a freshman all over again. So it's crazy. I didn't drink in college. I didn't drink like 2 years after college. So I guess like the stuff I'm doing now, I should have did that shit in college. I'm doing it all now. I'm all backwards. So it is what it is.
You're making up for it. You're making up for it.
I'm making up big time for it. So bad. Yeah. You see me in Tallahassee after 11, I'm probably not in my right mind. So
that's perfect. No, I think it's going to be a fantastic time. He said it right. So. It's only Sunday is the only game, man, in that place, and you didn't get to have everybody in town from last year, so it's going to be like I said, a roller coaster of a day. But man, I hope these kids, the student section, are going to be able to hang for that long, man.
Oh no, they'll be fine. Like I said, like I went to a few games last year, and like I said, with the cold, it wasn't the same. You know what I mean? It's just Tallahassee wasn't the same. So man, like I said, man, it's the only game on, it's gotta be like you gotta be freaking jacked. So I'm pumped, man. I can't wait. I was there the last time we played Notre Dame at home, so
Yeah,
I'm pumped.
perfect.
So this is probably like the most serious question you're going to get tonight on the show, and it's something I've noticed that you were doing back in college, and you're still doing it now. So I just want to know, what's the story behind you ending off a lot of your social media posts, addressing them to the world?
No, Lonnie was so nervous there for a second. You should have seen his face. You worded it where, what was I doing? What kind of stories you got?
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, what you heard? What you get who's your plug? That was my freshman year. So I was a big Lil Wayne fan, like the rapper Lil Wayne. And I forgot what song it was. He comes on the song. If I can think of it, but anyway, he comes on the song. He's like, "Hello world," like he's coughing. He's like, "Hello world." So I remember I had Facebook and I just put like "Hello world." So that's when at the point where I was just because what anyone do, like you're just adding all these random people on Facebook thinking it's cool. So I got all this. So I posted it and a lot of people hated it and a lot of people liked it. So I was like, screw it. So I just kept it. So ever since then, I literally just end everything with world. So it's just actually when I get done texting, it just auto fills it, which is weird. So it just knows it's coming. So
it already knows.
I just stick with it. So so ever since then, I was a big Lil Wayne fan. I did it and I just stuck with it. So
absolutely. Hey, I like it.
I copied you a few times.
Oh, use it. Yeah, sometimes I get bored and I just use the word emoji, like the emoji world, and makes life easier sometimes.
You helped Dustin get from 2 likes to 4, so definitely appreciate it.
I'll try. I'm not big on Twitter like I used to, man. I used to be. I'll never forget. This was what year was that? Maybe the freshman or sophomore year. Maybe I'll remember. Remember when Jimbo took away social media?
Mm-hmm.
I remember Burt Reed got into it with a fan or something, blah, blah, blah. So Jimbo took social media away. And I never forget, this is when I was like a crackhead on Twitter. Like, I was tweeting everything. Like, I was like, walking to class. Like, I was a crackhead on Twitter.
And that's what Twitter was for then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. I was literally posting everything. And I never forget, like, Jimbo comes in and he's like, no more social media. No more. He's like, no more tweeting and twatting or whatever. And we're all laughing. And he's like, where's Lonnie Pryor? I know him. He's a social butterfly. He's always tweeting and twatting. And I'm sitting there like, why are you calling me out, my guy? Like, it was so funny, dog. But I'll never forget that he like banned Twitter. And I was like, what am I supposed to do now? I got no Twitter now. It's just funny. But anyways,
hey, I'm interested, this NIL stuff going on now. What are your thoughts on that? Thinking about that, and is that something you would have liked to have or taken advantage of?
We had a guy at the booster event. I think his name's Chris. I'm sorry, Chris, if I got your name wrong. I think it is Chris. But anyway, he went over some of that stuff. I think it's cool. I think it's sweet for some of the kids. I think it's badass. If you can get paid to play football, that's great. Or you can get a sponsorship, that's great. Only thing I think it's going to change recruiting process. I know I forgot how the guy broke it down to me. Like Florida schools, certain about like giving away money. Anyways, it's definitely going to change recruiting. If a school can offer you this amount of money to come there or this amount of sponsor. To go there and play, I think, you'll go there because you'll get money there. Or also when it comes to 3 years, a lot of players, you play 3 years and leave. But if a kid is a starter, if he's projected to get drafted 4th or 5th round, but is making a couple $100,000, whatever, he's like, why go, stay another year? So I think it's good and bad in some ways. Like I said, I think it's going to change a lot. With players going to different schools. But I wish I had it when I was there. It would definitely be cool to have a little extra money. So I'm glad they're doing it. So like I said, I think it's going to change recruiting a lot.
Yeah, I do think you'll see the schools like Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, the guys that right now considered the lead dogs find the loopholes. And I think you've already seen it with, a guy who hasn't played a lick of shit in college, and Alabama's quarterback, earning 7 figures.
Yeah.
And then you look at that, their freshman cornerback McKinstry signing on with Kool-Aid. So I mean, it's part of the arms race now. I agree with that. It's going to change the game big time.
And I forgot how the guy Chris broke it down. So. And every state's different as well. Mm-hmm. And I can be breaking this down. Something about offering money. Alabama can just offer a kid money or some kind of sponsorship, but Florida can't do it. It's like also breaks down states too. So if you're a kid that needs money immediately, like in Florida's not offering that, you'll definitely go to a different school. So it's going to change a lot. But at the end of the day, like if you're a good player, you're going to go where you want to go at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Yep, it changes the whole game right now, and it's going to be interesting. And also about focus, how you stay fully focused onto it. I know we've heard a few players like Devontae Love-Taylor on the offensive line say he's only going to be doing the NIL during the football season, or not during the off season, but he's doing a show with another outlet throughout this upcoming season. So it's just really going to depend on if the money's different though. You might want to do one thing a week, and as long as it doesn't mess with your schedule and the academics and everything like that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a game changer. I guess as long as you can manage it and do your job, it's fine. So
absolutely. Anybody else have anything else?
I got a question. I know you follow the team closely. Do you follow recruiting or no?
Only person I know is Travis Hunter.
That's all I need to know. It's become a running joke, but I've long said that he's, one of the best players in the last 5 years. The kid is special. That's what's going to turn it around at FSU. Is getting these kids.
So I don't, and I may be a bad fan. I don't follow the recruiting like that. I follow like you guys, and when y'all post, I'll see stuff like that. But like a guy that's going to be like, oh, we got this 5-star, blah blah blah. I know Travis, and I know he's a dog. But I was telling people like that, man. You got to think of like, I know Florida State. The past few years we haven't been that great. But I tell people all the time, it's like, it's still Florida State. Like, I know the schedule hasn't, the win lot. We haven't been winning a lot of games, but you got to think, man, it's still fucking Florida State. And that's what it takes. It takes like one person. It takes one Travis that brings like a group of people. Like, if I was a recruit and Travis is going there, I'm like, fuck, I want to go play with this guy. You know what I mean? So it takes like one player, 2 players that like bring people back. I'm telling you, man, he's a ball player, but like I said, I think it's just you get players like that in. People want to come play with that guy. Like, who wouldn't want to play with that guy? And that's how it all starts, man. You start winning games, and Florida State's going to get back to where it was, man. So it's players like him that changes that culture, man. And man, he's a dog, man. We need dogs, and he's fucking one. So.
Yeah, no, he's nasty.
Oh, he's dirty, my God.
He's at the highlights, and it's with pads, no pads, the competition,
whatever.
He's just got so much energy. Like he knows he's good, but like I said, you need that. Yeah, you just need that. You need that dog, and I think that's him. So,
having that guy, like you just said, that knows he's a damn good player. And is a leader, but he's gonna go make a play for you, to help your team. It's not just just yapping. He's gonna do it.
He's gonna be a player. So I'm excited for him, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for this year, man. Man, I'm excited. So
I think that's just like the rest of the fan base. They're just ready to get back to normal, get the full pack Doak rocking, and try to intimidate. And make it not so easy for that quarterback coming in, because he hasn't seen something like this. Riled up Doak Campbell Stadium. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Lonnie, I appreciate you, man. A whole over 30 minutes now. Definitely appreciate you hopping on here. I think the listeners are gonna love it. I think they're gonna love
man,
it.
if y'all ever need a guest, man, or anything, man, if y'all ever do like something, always. If I'm free, man. Well, I'm usually free. If it's at 8:30, I'm free. But yeah, man, I'm always, man. If y'all just want to get on, we don't have to talk about football. We can just talk about crazy stories. I'm your guy.
We're open to that. Well, next time we'll include alcohol with it, and then we'll get some more out of it.
Yeah, that's really the next thing about Willie Taggart. Then when I'm like 3 crowns and like 3 gin and tonics in. I'm just kidding.
Hey, man, I appreciate you hopping on here, and we'll definitely stay in touch throughout the season. You stay safe and everything, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all. Go Noles.
Absolutely.
See y'all later.
All right, Lonnie.
Well, that was great, man. That was a wonderful interview with Lonnie. We were supposed to have him on last week. You know, he was doing stuff with boosters and, was able to come on here and give some insight of him and his relationship with Norvell and go back to his past and career at Florida State, man. That was nice. It was nice hearing all of that. He's a funny guy. There's a reason why a lot of the team back in the day loved him.
Yeah, man. He's a personal dude, man.
Mm-hmm.
He broke the Orange Bowl MVP trophy.
Going on a slide. Said it's been to many parties, house parties. So he brought that thing
and some guy's forehead.
Yeah, and I don't know of anyone that brings their own trophies to parties and such, but Lonnie Pryor does that. But you know what? The man earned it, and you don't usually see a fullback winning that award ever, really. So do it, man.
It also just fits who he is, that just fits him. It's pretty funny.
That's definitely him. Absolutely. Then there goes Nate off the screen. We got to give Nate. Well, hopefully by the time we get back from talking about our new sponsor, Proud 90, who are awesome. If nobody has been able to see here, Lonnie was laughing at us and wondering what in the world we were doing. We got on our Proud 90 polos right now. I think Austin's got the dinosaur one down below. And here comes Nate. And then D-Lou's got the pineapple party. I do have a pineapple party one in my closet too that they sent us. They sent us a lot of gear. And then Nate's got the other polo down below. But yeah, these are polos. We got 2 FSU guys that are running this company, and it's polos are awesome. They're thin, light, and the stretchy part. I love a good dry fit polo, but if it can stretch and feel light, it's perfect. So actually, if you go in the description down below on YouTube, you can use our code NGD20. You get 20% off at proud90.com. And real quick too, some cool news here. They have also, we get to break the news. They're allowing us to break it. They have partnered with McKenzie Milton as of just this week. He'll be partnering, and so he'll be rocking some Proud 90 along with us. So some really cool projects that they're in the works of doing, and we'll be included in there with them. So proud90.com. Support some fellow Noles. These polos are awesome. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of cool stuff coming in the works too. We can't talk about it yet, but a lot of cool other things, material, and along with just I can't even say anything. I don't want to screw it up, but proud90.com. Thank you for sponsoring the show as always. Gentlemen, let's jump into some football quick hitters because this is where the fun really begins here. Because it's been a whirlwind of events on social media the last couple of days. Dustin shaking his head. Oops, let me move this around. Dustin shaking his head, but it's been a wild one. If you're crazy, if you don't know what's going on, McKenzie Milton, there was a big old thing that blew up about him and his availability on the team. We actually had a bat cave in which we go into our Discord and we talk about the latest going on and scoop, and started kind of connecting the dots here and there, and you got to see, McKenzie Milton wasn't at the practice. He was resting, and, media wasn't saying much on it. You got to see Jordan Travis playing, and McKenzie Milton's not out there. So the biggest thing here to take note of, McKenzie Milton is not hurt. That's one thing we can kind of squash that whole rumor there. gentleman, not hurt. There is something that he's going to have to deal with throughout this upcoming season. I don't know if that will ever make it to where the staff will say something about it and Mike Norvell will say anything. I doubt it. Don't think so. But there's just something that, I think, the staff has found out that Milton is going to have to deal with for this upcoming season. Does that make it where he's available for every game at 100%? Don't know. That's something that I'm questioning. But it was good to see him, though, out on the field today, playing well, played well, had some kind of some nice plays out there. The stuff that we don't get to see versus what we hear. But Milton came back, looked good and mobile. Jordan Travis wasn't out there. We can go and squash this too. Jordan Travis is fine. If you're in our Discord, you guys have that information. But Jordan Travis is good. Just had kind of a rest day for him, which is much needed. So yeah, just kind of wanted to squash some stuff there, and it's a quarterback competition, and it's good. Both quarterbacks have had pretty interesting camps so far, and impressing too. What do you think, Nate, about this?
Well, I was waiting to see who's going first, but
I mean, Dustin would be, since he's been all over me the past 48 hours. Now he's silent. That's how it usually goes.
I know, yeah,
ahead, he's all over me, and then now, all talk.
Like I said last night on Mark Rogers when I popped in there for a little bit. For the whole caveat with Milton has been his health, and what he has to battle through with anything going on with what happened to him. So I think that's gonna be a part of the season. I think that still him as the quarterback makes this a different team and makes it a different offense. Me preference wise, I prefer McKenzie Milton. It's not that I have an issue with Jordan Travis. Some people misconstrue my thought that FSU is a better team with a different quarterback other than Travis. It's nothing personal. I don't dislike the kid. I just think that while he has had a lot of improvement, I still think that he's a quarterback that defenses will be able to figure out a little bit more quicker and easier than they can a McKenzie Milton. So FSU needs this kid throughout the season. You and I talked a little bit about this yesterday, Mark Rogers too, about how the health is so paramount to this season, and you can't leave camp down a quarterback, or you can't leave camp with a lot of questions about a guy who should be, is he your starter or not? So, Florida State's got to hopefully, persevere through that. And, for me, I just want to see Florida State do well in the field, whoever the quarterback is. We've all talked about we're going to see multiple guys. That's never going to not be the case. I just think that the long-term impacts of this team is better with Milton as the permanent guy. So that's just how I feel. It's good to see him back out there practicing today. So, a lot of people were ready to jump off a ledge.
Do you want to take on this comment from Andre so you can kill it off? Nate, you said the man was terrible. So what shouldn't we take from that statement?
Jordan Travis was terrible last year. He was. As a runner, he's great. Very dynamic with the ball in his hands. When it comes to being an efficient passer, getting the ball down the field, he left a lot on the field. I don't think that you can get much worse than what he was last year as a thrower. FSU needs significant improvement from him if they want to see Florida State's offense take the next step. I'm trying to be nice, and if you want to trigger my real response, I'll put it out there. But I'm trying to be nice and polite, and understanding that this kid has worked his tail off to get better. But there's people on the roster who I think are better quarterbacks. He's great as a runner. Perfect. You put him in a special package formation and let him run. It's great. You have him as your full-time quarterback. You know, do we need to revisit the North Carolina game in the second half, how horrible he was? No, we don't. So we won't go there.
Yeah, and I would say just going back to the rumors that have kind of circulated throughout this week, you know, it really just feels like things got overblown. Because, I mean, let's be honest, it all started in that bat cave with you, Logan. Not that you said anything, though I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly what you said. But regardless, it seemed like this was more of the fan base taking something that wasn't said and just running with it. And then the next thing you know, I mean, it's everywhere. So I'm sure a lot of media the last couple of days around the Florida State beat have been pretty annoyed with all the McKenzie Milton questions. And I think everyone was a lot happier this morning when they were kind of able to put that to bed.
Yeah, no, that's the Florida. We're in true preseason. Like I was saying to Nate on Mark Rogers' show, there's always something going on in the preseason. There's always going to be some kind of storyline and some kind of rumor that's going to blow up. And of course, it's going to be about the quarterback situation. And, you know, McKenzie Milton coming off of a crazy leg injury. We're not seeing him at practice, blah, blah. And what we said in the back cave got, you know, overblown times 1,000. But that's we're used to that, and the Florida State fan base kind of going overboard with a few things. But it's good to see Milton back out there. There's just some things that he'll have to deal with this upcoming season, and I wonder if that's going to play into effect on, you know, preparing in games and how you're going to go into them, depending on Milton. And, you know, with Jordan Travis too, he's had a great camp. He has been the best quarterback out of camp so far. And I think, going back to you, Nate, I think there were some games last year where they wouldn't have won if Jordan Travis wasn't out there. Was it with him using his legs a lot of time? Yes. You know, making sure that the ball was going down the field and getting the first downs and maybe making a 3rd and long. But, you know, if there's improvement there throwing the ball, that's a big thing. And that's something that we keep on hearing from the staff and from the inside, that's happening, which is a good sign.
Logan, they won 3 games last year. I mean,
well, they would have won 2-1 without him. Who would you have thrown out there?
You probably take away North Carolina. Oh God, don't even get me started on Blackman.
Well, you were making it sound that he's right there on Blackman's level.
As a passer, absolutely. You know, there's no difference between them as a passer. But yeah, okay. So Florida State, like I said on Mark Rogers, I think with Jordan Travis, he brings you a certain dynamic as a runner, and that's going to create passing lanes. People are going to have to. They're going to have to, you know. I can't be mean, man. I can't.
No, you don't have to be mean. You know, say it in a nice.
This kid needs to figure out how to not get so shut down so quickly, and that's what I think hindered the offense last year. Is you look at the offensive line, but they played better. But you know, his desire to run and not keep his eyes on the field when there's guys running open, a lot of times, you know, hinders the offense. And you know, he wasn't the most accurate guy on top of that, inconsistent. And I think it made these coaches' job easier to shut him down and figure out what they got to do to shut him down. And if you don't believe that's the case, just look at North Carolina and the tale of 2 halves. Even look at Notre Dame; they started out well, and as the game went on, you know, made it progressively harder and harder. So I'm just not. I need to see it. Just like with a lot of this team, I need to see it on the field before I can believe it.
And both things can be true. Jordan Travis can not be a great passer and still admit if he's not playing last year, we maybe win 1 game. Like,
for sure.
Both things can be true. If you just look at his stats, he's only completing 55% of his passes. He's only throwing the ball 16 times a game. Like he just wasn't an accurate quarterback last year. If he improves, great, because his running threat is immense.
And I think the coaching staff knew that, and they schemed the offense around the strength of the quarterback. But you know, when a guy can't consistently hit a 15 15-yard dig route, and that just kills your offense. So, but
I'm thinking more as where he was not even an option at all of being a starter last year, thrown into a COVID year, no spring, whatever kind of fall camp you want to have, whatever that was, gets thrown into there, and for what it's worth, played for a majority, a good amount of the season, not fully healthy too. And then now you give him a true spring, a fall, another good amount of months to be able to build chemistry with those wide receivers. And if that wide receiver room is much more improved too, I think that helps a lot for Jordan Travis. And we've, hearing that he feels a lot more comfortable in this offense along within the pocket, which that's what you're looking for. And I think I agree with you. I think that's the same way that you're thinking for Jordan Travis. It's the same way with McKenzie Milton. I want to see how really he can run and be fine in a real game, type, scenario. That's kind of, we both are in the same boat there. I want to see it on the field. I got to see it.
Yeah, for sure. I need to see the improvements just to, feel confident that, Florida State, they have to get to 6-6 and get to a bowl game this year. That they have to. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I'm gonna write out, but whoever it is, this team's got to get to 6-6, and however they get there, whoever the quarterback is, it's gonna fall a lot on them and them guiding that offense. So,
just to put in here in a note before we move on, from what we've been told, Jordan Travis wasn't at practice today, but nothing to be worried about moving forward. So it's good to have that McKenzie Milton playing, and should have Jordan Travis back soon. Before we jump into, we can keep going in here really quick. Let's jump into a little bit of the scrimmage. We've got some footage here from Florida State Seminoles.com that we can go over. But Nate, me and Dustin were on here to talk about it. Both quarterbacks were playing in this scrimmage. They started a little bit, warmed up, it seemed like, inside Doak, went over to the IPF. But, there's been some highlights of a lot of things, and that's where we got our first taste of Travis J dropping down to corner, which we've talked about plenty of times on this show. Played it in Madison County, physical guy at the line. What do you think about that whole situation? Because it seems like he's playing pretty well right now down there.
I like the move. Probably a more natural fit with him and Dent making the switch. I know Dent has increased his body size, and he's up to 203 pounds. But if you look at Travis J, the big thing got to continue to just work on his technique. I think he relies a lot on just the natural ability to play, and he's still a young kid. He's going into year 2 on the college level. But I like the move. He's a guy that I think it can shut down. I think he's a guy that is going to come up in coverage. Like you said, he's got the physicality to be there in rush support. He's just got to continue to just work on his overall game. But I do like the move, putting a guy in a position to kind of help shut down that opposing team. So, and we talked about how you don't really know how this is going to unfold because there's a lot of versatility in the backfield. This could be this may not be a permanent move. It could be, specific on different teams. You just don't know how the coaches see it all coming to pass. But, it just adds to the versatility of what he can do in the defense.
Mm-hmm. Were you going to note on something, Dustin? Look like you're about to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and Jay, he had another solid practice from all the reports that have come out today so far. And, he was good for Florida State, I thought, early last season before getting banged up. So it's just going to be huge to keep him healthy because, he's got so much talent. I really do think he could eventually develop into a star in that defensive backfield, all the potential in the world.
Another star building right now is young true freshman Cheyenne Brown. He was the highlight from the scrimmage and number one name up there. he's been making some plays. Also, some in the most recent practices, having some turnovers. That's someone to keep an eye on. There's always someone that we don't really expect and comes out of fall camp, and we see that he's getting early playing time in the football season. Cheyenne Brown is someone to keep an eye on. 3-star out of his class.
Cheyenne Brown is a football player that comes from a school that produces football players. Yeah, he wasn't highly recruited, but he comes from a school that just produces really good football players. So, he's going to be a guy that will be a multi-year contributor to the team. It's just another great find for Norvell and his staff.
Yeah,
kid's just a ball player, and the Brownlees and the Browns. It's what Florida State needs. They need these ball players. The kid's just a football player, and so far he's way exceeded expectations. So, and I think you can look at even Hunter Washington a little bit there too, and Jordan Eubanks, guys that were a little under recruited or not necessarily getting the spotlight on the recruiting trail, but have come in and been better than advertised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we saw it whenever Brown committed or was when he enrolled. Maybe there were some fans on Twitter kind of talking about his ranking and saying like, why'd you give this guy a scholarship, basically? And he took notice of that at the time on Twitter, and he's just come into Florida State and put in the work. I mean, I don't know if anyone said it, but he actually had 2 interceptions today during team drills at practice. So he's continuing that hot start. And like you said earlier, Logan, there's always someone that comes out of nowhere and breaks into the rotation. Cheyenne Brown might be that guy.
Mm-hmm. Another guy that was lining it up in the scrimmage was Desean Corbin, your veteran running back there. And from things that we've heard, seems like he's fully back to being explosive, which is huge for this running back room. And if he can have that back kind of in his early days at Texas A&M, he's a threat there in that running back room, because you're starting to have a stable there of them. But Corbin, you want to have there consistent being that guy on the field, and it's a great sign that he's good to rock. And because, Treshaun Ward, I feel, is like on his heels. Toa Phillies looked nice too. He's put on a little bit of pounds too and able to take some hits, which is a good sign. Still not you're not going to see it on game day and be like, oh my God, he's huge. But, that's a stacked room. But Desean Corbin, it's got to be a big year for him.
Yeah, me and you talked a little bit about it on Sunday, but he just didn't really look, in my opinion, comfortable early on last year. And then as things continued to go on and he got more experience in the offense, by the end of the year, he looked pretty solid out there at running back, continued that into the spring. And I think it's just huge at this point. He's going to be 2 years removed from that injury he suffered at Texas A&M by the time we hit the fall. And I think having back that, not only being fully healthy physically, but also mentally, all the cuts that a running back has to be able to make, they have to trust their body. And I think, I said it, 2 years removed now, he's probably got that back.
And then moving on to another name who had a good day, Jordan Wilson, definitely catching the ball down the field. I think in the first drive in that red zone area, it was a Jordan Travis to Wilson there. And he's had some flashes from time to time from what we've been told from our sources. That's a nice sign there. I know a lot of us, we still project him to be big in that running game, but if you can kind of have a hybrid guy, in some parts for packages, that's a nasty threat to have both McDonald and you've got Wilson out there and some of those plays. It's a big boy too. That is a big boy.
Yeah, he's huge. And I mean, to come back from that injury, and we've talked about it throughout the whole offseason, we thought he would have more of a blocking focus opposite of Cam McDonald. But, the first week of fall practice last week, he caught 2 or 3 touchdowns. Then he came into the scrimmage, caught a touchdown. So, I mean, he's already caught 4 or 5 touchdowns, and that's not even counting what he did this week. So this is a guy coming into Florida State, only had 2 total touchdown receptions during his time at UCLA. We'll see if now, coming back off that injury, it seems like he's really focused on stepping up more as a receiver rather than just a blocker and being a dual threat. And I think with his experience with Cam McDonald, Florida State, they've got a lot to like at tight end.
Yeah, I mean, Achilles is a tough injury to come back for a football player. So it's good to see
Mm-hmm. That is. A few more names to note here. Malik Mclain, that's been since the spring, and it's going to continue through fall camp. But guys, I mean, are we all in the agreement here that we think that we wouldn't be shocked to see him start against Notre Dame at this point, which is freaky to think of? I would never have thought that going into the spring because, yeah, it's a true freshman coming in, but he has been making some plays, man, down the field. He's been making some explosive plays. Oops. I had to mute Nate, but coming into, him in this fall camp, he's been keeps excelling along with Burrell, but McLean is just that guy right now. Number 11. He is a stud. It's good to see. I like it.
Yeah, we saw it during the spring, and he's continued it into the fall. Malik Mclain has just been a consistent big play threat for Florida State out wide, and at this point in time, it would not surprise me if he walks out on the field with the starting unit. That said, there's a couple more weeks, and there's a lot of unproven talent in that room, and I think there's some other guys that could step up. We'll just have to see how these battles shake out.
I think it's nice you're starting to get some juice from Kintron, and you start to get some juice from Dan Williamson, which is depth purposes. So that's great to see for FSU. But yeah, I mean, Malik McLean's is another guy that's exceeded expectations coming in, and he's been consistent, and it hasn't been one practice, two practice, and then you don't hear from him. It's every day. He's making plays and he's getting better. So, that's very promising. And that's like you said, Logan, that's been from spring. So that's very promising as you head into fall to have a guy that, while young, is probably going to be depended on. And, I do expect him. He may not start on that season opener, but he's going to play a ton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is a question from Patrick asking, any solid notes regarding offensive line improvement, or are they still getting that work daily from the defensive line? Starting off, I mean, the offensive line, I think going in to start a fall camp, I think there was the early trying to figure out who fits where best. And then once you put the pads on, I think that defensive line was going to take advantage early on. And the running game, we've heard certain things too, where that's improved. And so it's been able to open up holes for Toafili because that's a guy that needs a hole to be able to work his magic. But, I still think this defensive line right now is one of maybe the top position groups in camp so far. And, it's good practice for this offensive line, but, I think we'll have to see when the game time comes because we keep on hearing about the defensive line making plays. And there's been definitely some positives that we've heard, but, right now the highlight after these last couple of, week and a half has been that D line.
Yeah, I would say mixed reviews at this point. There's been some good, some bad. Like you noted, I think they're still trying to find that best five combination for Notre Dame. But the thing that's really disappointed me in watching some of these practice videos is a lot of the centers are having trouble with their snaps for whatever reason, whether they're going too high or too low. And, Logan, whenever we were out there in the spring, we saw the same types of issues with two or three different players. So it's just kind of disappointing to me. They're still having that problem, this deep after spring and into the first 2 weeks of camp. So hopefully that's something that gets cleaned up because it's going to be annoying if there's a bad snap, during a game and you lose a fumble off a stupid play like that.
And to know Maurice Smith, Maurice Smith has been a little dinged up from what I've been told, Mm-hmm. So Bavion has been taking about 50-50 from what I've told with Maurice Smith right now.
And it just throws off the whole timing of the whole play. So I was going to mention that, Dustin. So that's a good point.
Great minds think alike.
Bad snap, Nate. You're going to want to have someone that can throw. I mean, not throw, run. My bad.
Or you're going to want someone to get rid of the ball quickly, make a decision, get rid of the ball, not sit there and
pick it up from their knees.
Yep.
It's not going to be easy down there reaching with the knee. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. But yeah, that's a good question there on the offensive line and seeing how that progress is being made. And I think, like Dustin said, just trying to still figure out who that five is. But I think by the end of the week, you're going to be settled on who's where. And I think that's kind of been made maybe for a little bit. But
and I figure Taylor's been out too. Really, he's finally kind of getting back into the rotation more. So, you haven't had your expected 5 out there yet, so you're not able to get that gelling going on. Yeah. So, and with your starting center, who we all think is going to be Maurice Smith, him being out, it just messes everything up. So, got to get healthy before the 5th.
Definitely.
Is there anything you want to note, Dustin, from the scrimmage before we move on? I mean, there's a lot of things. The rest of the info and inside scoop is on our Patreon at patreon.com/NoleGameday. But trying to think if there's anything else that you would be interested in. There, you think worth noting? Cushney wasn't at the scrimmage.
Did you mention the starting offensive line in the scrimmage? Like who
I haven't mentioned them yet. I have not mentioned them. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, we can go through that since we're still on offensive line. But FSU's starting group in the first scrimmage: left tackle Robert Scott, left guard Dylan Gibbons, center Maurice Smith, right guard Devontae Love Taylor, and right tackle Darius Washington. So, Nate, me and you are both wrong right now. How's that feel?
Y'all suck.
You're muted, bro.
Oh, no. There you go.
Well, I mean, I was right on left tackle. I was right
get a
on.
cookie.
Good job.
No comment.
No comment.
I don't feel comfortable running into game 1 with Washington as right tackle.
I think that's kind of worrisome for you. I can understand that. Is this where you play nice and just don't say anything? Just like Lonnie said.
I don't know what to go to say off of that. I mean,
yeah. I don't even want to know. I don't even know where he was going to go with that.
I still think it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Just it's still a work in progress.
Like it's been for 8 years, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I mean,
not wrong there either, but
they finally have a great coach. So, not that Trickett wasn't a great coach his early career at Florida State, but they got the coaching. But they got to figure out how it all unfolds.
You good over there?
Is it Gibbons staying at left guard? Is it do you put Scott back at right tackle and put Taylor at left tackle? It's what they got to figure out in the next 15 days, 16 days. So
yeah, you got to figure it out. Let's mention on here, moving on from the scrimmage, there's been some talk and chatter definitely after the ACC announced some COVID-19, some game rescheduling policy that they released. This is going to start getting interesting, I think, heading into football season. Some teams are above the 85%, some teams well below it. There's been some concern that Florida State is pretty low right now. I'm going to share on here on the screen a tweet with a couple new updates on this whole situation that is brewing. But just going to the ACC part of things, this is an ACC COVID game pause policy. If a team can't play due to COVID, it's a forfeit, and a win-loss will be put in the standings. If both teams can't play due to COVID, both will get an L in the standings. In the ACC, if a team has a vaccination rate below 85%, unvaccinated players must be tested at least 3 times per week. If the vax rate is above 85%, unvaccinated players must be tested at least 1 time per week. If above 85% with no cases, masking and spacing can be relaxed. So, is this fair? Is it not fair? What do you guys think on this? With now, if you don't have the vaxes, you're getting L's. Seems like
take the politics out of everything.
Yeah.
Just look at it as someone as coming through the end game of it. Get get the damn vaccine. Be socially responsible. It's proven to work. Let's just get through this. That's how I feel.
And I think it makes sense to, if the game is canceled just due to COVID,
hold them accountable. No need to reschedule it.
Hold the team, because it sucked last year, not only for fans but for players, with games being postponed. You have to make it up. It's like, I mean, you go to the Clemson fiasco last year, where Clemson's in town. Now there's a blame game, so on and so forth. Just get the vaccine. It's not bad. It really isn't. Who cares about the FDA stuff? Who cares about politics? Whatever. There's science behind it. They wouldn't put it out there if there wasn't science behind it. I think it makes sense. A lot of people are going to be unhappy about it, especially in the state of Florida. But it's the smart move, in my opinion.
And, I mean, there was plenty of leeway given on things last year, with games being rescheduled and teams even, one team tested positive, so they reschedule it with a different team. I think now just having it uniform, if you mess up the COVID rules, then you're going to forfeit the football game. I mean, make it cost something. And I think it should.
I think the percentages thing is kind of weird, where you go from testing once a week to 3 times.
I mean, that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense. But in theory, it's a good idea.
The theory is to enforce the vaccine, is what it is. Just get vaccinated and not have to worry about it. Is what they're really pushing for.
Yeah.
Is why I think they did that. But I mean, you look at it like these guys have so much stuff going on. With their school schedule, football. Why not just eliminate that extra possible distraction, which is COVID, and having to go back to masking and socially distancing, and you can't go out and all this crap. Just get the vaccine, be done with it, and just focus on what you got to focus on as a player, and that's being a great student athlete.
Yeah. And I was told all walk-ons have been fully vaxxed. So that's a good sign for FSU. Just there's some concern for the core part of the team. So we'll see how that develops and everything. I want to give a shout out here real quick to Jeff Hill. Didn't leave a message, but appreciate the kind donation from him. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it big time with the 10 bomb.
I mean, they had Myron Rolle there.
Well, that's something I was going to mention, is that they have had a lot of guests lately, and that's there's a reason why they've had a lot of speakers, and Myron Rolle was one of them, and talking about the vaccination and trying to get that percentage up.
He's also given education, and that's what I think these kids need and want. They want to be educated on it. They want to make a right decision. But at the same time, man, just fucking do it, man.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a personal choice, but, some other college football teams have shown that it can be done. I mean, you look at Alabama, I think they reported either 99% of the team was vaccinated, or it was one total player isn't fully vaccinated. So either way, it can be done with the right approach, the right messages, and I think Florida State has done a good job of trying to educate the players, and we'll see if they take to it or not.
Let's move on from this, because this is always just a conversation that you can't really have on Twitter, nor Discord, nor YouTube. So let's just get back to football. That will be probably maybe the only time we'll talk about vaccination stuff on this show again, honestly. But let's move into the last little bit here. D-Lou, some updates here on some high school football coming along, because it's about to get started. And now, there's some big-time players that Florida State has committed that are going to be playing very soon, including, tomorrow, really.
Yeah, like you said, high school football really is starting to ramp back up starting this week. You've got a lot of guys who are either playing their jamboree this week or starting week 1 of their seasons. And I put a list of all of the FSU guys who are playing today, tomorrow, and Saturday in our Discord earlier. And I actually got a message back a little bit ago. So 2023 defensive end, Lamont Green Jr., FSU commit. He actually had his season debut earlier this afternoon. Lamont Green Sr. is going to send me over the film, but he said Boots Jr. had 11 tackles today, 6 tackles for loss, 8 quarterback pressures, and a sack. in their 37-10 win over Miami Killian. So sounds like they got off to a good start of their season. Trying to think. Omar Graham also he's playing tonight, so I'll have to check in with him to see how things went. Tomorrow is going to be the big one. You've got IMG Academy at American Heritage, so you're going to get to see guys like AJ Duffy, Alou Baugh, Jaleel Skinner take on an American Heritage team with Earl Little Jr., Marvin Jones Jr., Brandon Ennis, Santana Fleming. So that should be very exciting tomorrow night.
That's going to be a great damn game. You know, I mean,
So much talent.
That is like elite versus elite. And you know, I'm anxious to see Duffy.
Yep.
You know, that's who I'm really eager to see. You know, and you know, if ESPN is smart, they'll make sure that they show Travis Hunter every week, just so I can watch him.
Yeah, just for you.
Yeah,
just for like, and yeah. No,
Yeah,
I think
speaking
a lot-
about Travis,
I'm sure he'll be his games will be online.
Travis
Yeah,
Hunter will debut his season. Colin Hill takes on Brookwood on Saturday at 8:45 p.m. So that'll be the first chance to see the 5-star in action during his senior season.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's been a lot of talk. Like Lonnie said, Travis Hunter is extremely special. So I can't wait. There's going to be a lot of FSU fans that have just kind of learned about him in the last 6 months, definitely since this offseason with all the highlights going on social media. They're going to be tuned in a lot to watch him. And I think it's pretty cool too to see this kind of high school football like starting to become like national, where you could be able to watch it online and everything, and you know it adds on to more football for me. That's all I care about. Give me football on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday when NFL comes, and then I get on Monday. That's fine. Just load me up, please. I'm all about it.
To go back to the Heritage game, that's one team that can legit in the high school level hang with IMG. So I'd be surprised if that's not a very competitive game.
A lot of FSU fans saying that they'll also be in attendance for that. So,
I mean, there's some other guys, Daughtry Richardson and Miami Central. They're going to be taking on John Bosco, who has been a renowned high school program. I know next week, Jalen Early and Jarrell Powers, Duncanville, they play Matter Day, I believe it is. So some of these FSU commits are going to be playing some big time talent, and I think people are going to want to tune in.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. To finish this off real quick, too, let's note on Jaleel Skinner. Most recently, he released his top 5, and Florida State makes the cut. We've talked about him a lot since this offseason, him visiting Florida State. Speaking of Travis Hunter, those guys were hand in hand and visiting once the recruiting doors were opened after the COVID-19 lockdown by the NCAA. But here he is. Jaleel Skinner has his top 5. Included is Alabama, Texas, Florida State, Miami, and Clemson. Some big time schools there to go against. Who do you guys think is the biggest competition here for FSU?
He already released this. We're talking about his commitment date, bro. I don't know what you're doing.
Oh, oopsies. Well, commitment date, and you get a
Just
top
to call
5.
you out. Doesn't that say July on it?
Yeah, it says July 13. Just don't look at it. But, now that he has a commitment date, I'll get his tweet up. I can't find it now. It's gone. It's disappeared.
His decision date is on October 9th. It's in the doc.
October 9th. There we go. October 9th, but those are the top 5 here. Pretty picture. Nice. Pretty decent edit. Don't laugh at me, all right? I thought this was the tweet.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see on this one. Obviously, Jaleel Skinner, he visited Florida State earlier this summer, got a chance to meet the coaching staff in person. And this is a guy who grew up with Florida State as his dream school. And, last couple of weeks, the big news came out that he was going to be transferring to IMG Academy to play his senior season along with Florida State's quarterback commit, AJ Duffy. So to me, at this point, all the signs are pointing towards FSU, but I do think he probably set that decision date for October just because he wants to see how FSU's first couple of games go, how the team performs, how the coaches are taking charge of things. So it's going to be important for FSU to get off to a good start.
pretty much what I said last night on Mark Rogers. I think that nothing has been put out there, said or done, that's going to lead me to think that he doesn't end up in Florida State's class. But Florida State's got to do what they got to do on the field. But I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, it seems like Florida State's in a really good spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really good spot. That's a talented guy, and a lot of the schools are looking at him differently and what position he'll be playing. But it seems like it's kind of a hybrid one that Florida State's looking at him as right now.
And that's the unique pitch for Florida State, because teams like Texas and Miami are both recruiting him as a tight end, where Florida State is pitching for him to play wide receiver. I think that's another part of his recruitment that kind of plays into FSU's favor. It seems like he wants to play wide receiver rather than tight end.
Mm-hmm. Jaleel Skinner, we'll keep an eye. Go ahead.
There's going to be a lot of upset Miami fans that are, smacking their chest and all, being braggadocious about his Twitter avatar. I think there's going to be a lot of upset Hurricane fans come mid-October.
Do we remember what happened with Daughtry Richardson?
Yeah,
Miami Twitter profile picture going into the announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Big Dog thinks he compares him a little bit to Michael Thomas. That comparison there.
Nah.
What do you feel it would be? What do you feel like your what would it be?
Jaleel Skinner?
Yeah, for Skinner.
Like professional wise right now?
Yep.
Darren Waller for the Raiders.
Titans?
The guy,
Or the Raiders now?
Yeah, the Raiders. The Raiders tight end. A guy that's a little bit of a tweener. Yeah, a little bit of a tweener hybrid guy. Is just absolutely deadly in the passing game. Which is how I see him, using those wide receiver traits. So, I think Michael Thomas is just more of a legitimate wide receiver, where I think that Skinner isn't necessarily going to be a full-time wideout for Florida State if he were to come.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think he's going to be just a mismatch guy.
Yeah. Before we move on to basketball latest with VZ down below, want to introduce two and shout out our new sponsor also on the show. It's just kind of been the show like this, but we're very excited about this one. Manscaped we worked with a little bit before, but we were a little bit smaller then. But now that we got kind of more of a following, Manscaped hooked it up with the Lawnmower 4.0. As you can see, what's so funny about that? I got the box right here. Trims perfectly, gentlemen. I will say trims very nicely. As you can see down below, we have a code. You can use Knowles20 and you get 20% off. Plus, we are giving you the option to use it for free shipping too. But the biggest thing I think, gentlemen, it's rechargeable, has wireless charging. What's going on here? Technology is advancing this far. Nate, whenever you were, younger back in your days, did you ever think about having a wireless charging pad for your ball trimmer?
No, we just always used our beard trimmer,
Did you have to use scissors back then?
You should still use scissors, if you get that up close and personal.
Well, this is you'll definitely won't have to use scissors for this. It's also waterproof, so if you're in the water and you're for some reason near a lake and you need to trim, I don't know, but I've never done that while I'm taking a shower. But also has an LED light on it. I think that's the best feature there. So if you're ever in the dark, you're just desperate and you need an extra light there, it has an LED spotlight for you to aim and make sure you're not nicking yourself anywhere.
I think the versatility of the waterproof is important, because it sucks when you got to sit there and if you are trying to do it above the toilet and just try to clean it up, you may miss some spots. But if you can get in the shower and we can all get in one spot at one time, it's easier to clean up.
Yep. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a new wireless charging system. It uses electromagnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. Manscaped says, take your time, fellas. And it doesn't need to be rushed or anything, but it's nice, man. The packaging on this is fantastic. And they also sent us some shirts. I saw you wearing one last night, Nate. Got a beautiful, nice shirt here. And we also got some briefs. So shout out to Manscaped. If you guys use that code, definitely appreciate if you did use the code, 20% off and free shipping. No better deal right now at all. So definitely go check them out. Let's move into some basketball, Austin, to finish off the pod. VZ, man, it just continues to be the streak for Florida State not landing commitments. Hashtag FireHam is in full effect starting tonight.
Still not in effect.
But yeah, go ahead. Give us the latest, baby.
We kind of touched on it last week with the Trent Donaldson stuff about how it was leaning Auburn. Seemed like it was going to be going to Auburn. Then the last 48, 72 hours, it's just been completely flip-flopping. You'll hear Florida State, you'll hear Auburn. I put it in our Discord. I'd asked up to 12 different people, and it was 50-50. Some said Florida State, some said Auburn. It was a wild recruitment. Dustin ended up putting a prediction for Auburn late last night, and that's ended up what happening today. Ended up committing
that was a
week
ago.
Well, okay.
Someone else. That was Mikey. That was Mikey that put it in, not me.
Maybe. I don't know. Someone reaffirmed it either late last night or this morning. And yeah, ends up going to Auburn. I don't think it's that big of a surprise.
No.
Florida State just, especially basketball-wise, just joined the recruitment too late. Like I said last week, they've never been the school that can come in a month before he commits with an offer saying, oh, hey, here you go. You want to come to Florida State? That's just not how they've been. I know they've known him for a long time, but he just got the offer a month and a half ago. It's tough for them to do that.
Yeah, I said it before. Florida State football, they didn't join his recruitment until last November, and that was well after a bunch of other suitors, including that top three today of Auburn and Florida, had already offered him and been recruiting him. And then, like you said, Austin, basketball finally comes in last month with an offer. And, growing up, Trey, it was always his dream to go to Florida State and play there as a dual sport athlete. And this recruitment, it just came down to being too late. And that's why I think, things changed. Auburn just showed that they had been recruiting him for the outset, and Florida State was kind of playing him as the second fiddle. And I think, Trey just went with the school that was making him more of a priority. So, yeah. But hey, good for him. He played at my high school, Florida High. Now gets to play with Amari Harvey at Auburn. So congrats to him.
And Bruce Pearl loved him. Bruce Pearl absolutely loved him at Auburn. So much to the point where they told 5-star point guard Zara Cruz to hold off his commitment.
Which is crazy.
So they could get Trey Donaldson. This is a guy that they really, really love. If he wants to play two sports, he's a phenomenal athlete, but it seems like he's going to mainly want to play basketball. I think he's going to kill it over there.
Y'all know who his high school basketball coach is?
Charlie Ward.
Charlie Ward.
Here, the Spear alum.
Yeah.
Had a great speech about Bobby Bowden, too, during the funeral service. Great guy. Anything more from basketball? Anything significant? Maybe some summer league?
Yeah, I would say summer league just wrapped up. Really much hasn't changed since the last we talked about summer league. A lot of the guys, they only played a couple games, and then a lot of teams are like, okay, you're too good for this. Let's shut you down. I know Trent had a huge dunk over Daniel Orturu from the Clippers, and then coincidentally, about an hour and a half later, Orturu got traded to Memphis. That was pretty funny. But Trent was phenomenal all summer league, averaging, what was it? It was 15 points, 6 boards, and 6 assists. Just doing typical Trent stuff. Pat, 21 points per game. Scottie Barnes, as a rookie, going out and averaging 15 points, 7 boards, and 3 assists. He had a great showing. Really, a lot of guys did really well. I would have loved to see Balsha play. They're still figuring out some stuff with the trade on draft night, so he wasn't able to play.
No, he played a little bit.
He didn't, but
it was 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it was the last game.
It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I would have loved to see the progress he's made. because I think he had a phenomenal draft process to be able to get drafted. He's improved himself a lot.
Same thing with Rayquan Gray and MJ Walker. I mean, they just didn't really get a ton of time.
Walker actually got more playing time than I figured he was going to get. He averaged like 16, 17 minutes a game, but he only scored like 4 points a game.
He only played in the last 3 games, though. I think he missed the first 3.
Made his shots, though. You know, I think he had shot 80% from 3. Went 4 for 5. So, I mean, he did fine. It's just, would love to see more from Balsha. Would have
I got 2 questions. You know, I got 2 questions. So first one is, what do y'all make of Malik Beasley walking out of jail like it's a photo shoot?
He looked fresh. That was a nice suit. That was a really nice suit. It was that was, if there was ever an album cover, like that's his album cover. He's in a suit with his trash bag walking out of prison. That was funny. I thought it was pretty funny, honestly.
I didn't even realize he was going to jail.
Yeah, it stemmed from that incident last summer that we kind of didn't really want to talk about because why would we? And it came from that whole baby mama situation and things like that.
And you guys being younger, you know, are you afraid for your generation when you have a guy like Cade Cunningham just pretty much disregarding the greatest of all time when it comes to Michael Jordan?
I got what he was saying.
I mean, how when you look at guys who are high draft picks and they're supposed to be all about basketball, but they disregard the GOAT. So as a younger guys who like basketball, you know, Logan not as much as you as the other guys, but you know, does it really concern you about the future of the sport when they just disregard how great Michael Jordan is?
It's always going to be who did I watch, and this generation's growing up with having seen LeBron. They didn't get to watch Jordan. Like your generation grew up watching Jordan. They idolized Jordan. I
also watched LeBron.
Yeah, I know.
I watch Magic. I have eyes and a brain that result in me forming the correct opinion that Jordan's the best.
I'm not saying I agree with them. I just see where they're coming from. And there's an argument. It's not much of an argument, but there's an argument. Jordan's definitely the best, but LeBron's arguably the best talent. I don't know if that makes sense. Jordan just had a competitive edge that
LeBron's probably the most physically gifted overall, like in what he can do.
Yeah.
But I think if you put Jordan in today's game, he's going to score 50, 60 points a game, and it's going to be easy.
I agree. And you put him in today's game, he's going to learn how to develop a 3-point shot as well. You know.
Yep. And you can forget about that. He only shot 2 threes a game on average.
And this was back when, you know, in the mid-90s, they moved the 3-point line in a little bit. It's just it's never something he concerned himself with. You put him, if you raise him in today's game, he's working on how to shoot threes. And he absolutely would have been a 35, 37% 3-point shooter. I have no doubt. Because he was good enough from the free throw line. It doesn't concern me. It's always going to be who did I grow up watching. Like a lot of there's a little bit of a brief period where a lot of people
take that kid serious.
Kobe's the best.
I can't even take that kid serious now. You know, as a basketball player, I can't even take him serious, man.
He's 18 years old. He's a kid. Give him some time. He'll learn. Just got to get him to watch The Last Dance. Get him a Netflix subscription.
I know. Educate yourself, my man. Like, Jordan's the best.
Not that you're biased or anything. That's a Chicago fan, but I agree.
No, he's the best. Even if I was a sorry ass Golden State Warriors fan, I would say that Jordan's the best.
Stop it. Where's the mute button? I don't know who this is, but maybe I should. Malik Renew.
No, he's a borderline top 50 kid for this 2022 class. At one point, he was kind of like plan B for Florida State's staff. Now they're really making him a priority now that Tariq Whitehead moved on. And it's looking like some other targets are also kind of leaning away, which, you know, we'll talk about in the Discord before we talk about it here. But they're starting to make him a priority. Versatile guy. Mainly plays the 4. Can slide up to 3 if you need it. Can slide down to 5 in a smaller game. Talented kid. It's another lawn athlete that Florida State's really now making a priority. I think if they want him, he's theirs.
And to mention really quick, too, Florida State Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Congratulations to Leonard Hamilton being inducted.
And Tony Douglas. Shout out Tony Douglas, one of my favorite players in that era. You know, first it was Al Thornton. Like, Al Thornton was that guy when I first started getting into basketball. Then in comes Tony Douglas, transfers from Auburn, and is immediately our best player. Such a talented guy, and I'm glad to see him get the recognition he deserves. I think Al Thornton got in, was it last year or 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. Talented guy, always rep the program the way it should, and spent 10 years in the league. What more can you ask? Shout out those two.
Exactly, most certainly. And Graham Gano, congratulations to him. We didn't talk about it earlier, but Graham Gano also being inducted. If anybody has anything else they want to talk about, that's practically it. We can wrap things up here on this wonderful Thursday night. I think we were that Lonnie Pryor interview was great. Quarterback talk, fall camp, scrimmage, basketball chat, all over the place tonight. So definitely, what'd you say?
Recruiting
too for you there. Yeah, I know. Recruiting, yes. We always care about recruiting, but as always, definitely appreciate everybody listening.
We're not going to shout out Hobbit?
Well, that one, well, we can mention that. They're going to start with us next week, but we can go and announce we're really happy and excited for a partnership with The Hobbit here in town. I go there all the time to get my wings on Thursday and Sunday nights. Definitely it's perfect for NFL nights to go watch my Steelers. I'll usually go pick up some wings beforehand, but I love them. Fantastic place. They have a location on Capitol Circle along with near the stadium on Pensacola Street. So we'll be working a lot with them. We've got some cool ideas in mind and events and certain things of that magnitude, a lot of cool things in mind, but they'll also be sponsoring the show. So you'll hear them a little bit throughout the months ahead on the show, but we're really excited about them. We think it's a perfect partnership.
They got boneless, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have a chat with you about it. They do have boneless though. Chicken nuggets, I should say. They are chicken nuggets. We'll figure something out for you. But we'll be talking a little bit more about that. We're excited about announcing those new sponsors onto the show. But bone-in wings are the best. We'll go ahead and end it off the show with that. Thank you to all of our sponsors. If you're on YouTube, you can look in the description below and take advantage of those coupon codes. We appreciate, guys, the ton of support we've had. We had like over 130 people watching tonight. So that's the most we've had, I think, ever. So appreciate everybody. If you're on YouTube right now, definitely appreciate that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We're getting close, gentlemen. We're getting close. It feels so good. We've got rumors flying everywhere. We are literally just a few weeks away from kickoff. We'll soon be moving the show over to Wednesday nights too. So everybody keep in mind with that, most likely starting maybe next week. So note that down. We will be talking a lot more Notre Dame in the next 2 weeks. So get prepared for that too. All right, everybody, have a great rest of y'all's week, and we will talk to you guys next week on Hear the Spear. Peace.
Peace.